This is Sean with Gate City Foundation Drainage. We're on a job today in Greensboro doing some drainage work. So I wanted to show you, first of all, look at this beautiful new driveway that the homeowner had poured. And look what's going on here. So the first time so this is only a few weeks old, this concrete. This black right here is the slab of the house, and the first time it rained here, the concrete was sitting up all the way to the house, and this concrete driveway was higher than the slab, and so the water went right off onto the slab and flooded the house. And so take a look here. We've got a full bubble of fall, and that's an 8-foot level too. We got a full bubble of fall into the house. Couple that with the fact that the height of the concrete is higher than the slab, and this whole room here flooded. All the flooring's ruined, everything. And so she called the concrete guy who did this work back. He came out, he cut all this out of here, and he put in a pipe right here, a little, what is that, a 3-inch pipe. And that was his solution. And when the homeowner, and the next time it rained, this just filled up with water. Take a look here as well. We're sloping uphill to the road, and there's nowhere for this gutter water to go. And so this customer called me out here and said, and she found me on YouTube, and she said, what do I do here? And I came out and took a look at it, and I see this all the time with brand new concrete. Customers call me out and the concrete's sloping into their garage, into their whatever. Here, because you're talking about the house, if we tried to put a channel drain here, now take a look. We pretty much don't have any fall going from front to back here. So that's pretty much level right there. And so the problem is, if we tried to put some kind of a channel drain here, if it ever got overwhelmed, it would flood again. And so we need a solution here that is 100%. So the only way to fix this problem is to rip this concrete out, dig it down, and re-pour it. So the homeowner was saying what happened here is there was another concrete guy in the neighborhood pouring, and she ran over there and said, hey, I've got a driveway. She had blacktop here, and the guy just peeled the blacktop off, and to save a little bit of money, he didn't grade it down. He didn't take any dirt out. And so that's why this whole driveway is so high in elevation. And so this homeowner, of course that guy just ghosted the homeowner. So she's got the news involved, she's got me involved, and so Harvey and his crew are on the way this morning. I actually beat him this morning, and we're going to get this demoed and dug out and formed today, and then we're going to pour tomorrow. So that's what we're working on. These are some pictures that the homeowner sent me. This was right after the other concrete guy poured, and you can see right here just how close it is up against the house right there. And so the gas meter right there is a good point to see just how close it is. Also the stoop right there. So that's way above the slab, and it's sloping into the foundation. Here, this is showing just how thick that concrete was poured, and again, she thought that it was, the guy had way too much concrete out there and he didn't have anything to do with it, so he just kind of finished it off and got it too thick. So that contributed to the whole thickness thing. This is the flooring that she had put down fairly recently, and she had to rip it all out of there because it got soaked. And then here is the underlayment under the laminate flooring, and she's got a fan set up there, and you can see how wet it is under there. So I wanted to get a shot from back here, see if you can see how that thing is sloping.
Harvey's light, we're gonna have to dock it.
Yeah. I just set this 8-foot level back up, and I wanted to show you really quickly. This is a digital level slash angle finder, I guess you would call it, that I just bought. It's a Rise Pro. So let's put some actual numbers on this. So this 8-foot level is showing we've got a full bubble of fall into the house. And that is reading a 3/8 inch per foot of fall, or a negative 1.85 degree slope, or a negative 3.20 degree. So you can see right there is 0%, and so we're falling down below that. Alright, so that'll put some numbers on that for you to show you where we're at with this job. And so of course we need to be falling in the opposite direction. And so if we're falling in the opposite direction, you can see just how much we need to come down. And you're not coming up over here, because if you come up over here, you're in the same boat. You're higher than the slab. And so we need to come down over here. And the only way you're going to do that is ripping all this concrete out, grading it back down, and redoing the concrete. So that's what we've got going on here. The homeowner is also, she said that when the guy was pouring, he had way too much concrete out here. And so look at how thick he poured that slab. So she thinks what might have happened is the guy had too much concrete out here, and he just made the pad way too high. So anyway, that's what we're working on today. I've been standing out here talking to the homeowner, waiting for the concrete guys, and she said the concrete guy that did this work showed up in a pickup truck. So she's amazed that my concrete guys have got a dump truck, a bobcat, another dump truck, and then a service truck back there. So she said this is what it looks like when a proper concrete crew shows up. And then I've got my little dump truck right there in case we have any extra dirt. So we're just getting unloaded. Of course, the homeowner didn't want to have to replace all this concrete twice, so we ended up cutting this upper section here that we thought was still okay. And anytime you are mating up new concrete to existing concrete, it can be kind of tricky here. So we're trying to get a real straight line and get that nice. The concrete guys break up the driveway in sections like this so that they can load up a dump truck, and that dump truck can be running to the recycling while they're breaking up more. The first load of concrete's off to recycling. Hey, hurry back. We are making pretty good progress out here, or the concrete guys I should say are. And so the contractor who poured this didn't want to fix it. And so the homeowner actually called the news. And so the news is out here right now talking to the homeowner and getting some footage. So pretty interesting. The homeowner is going to show us the inside damage where the room flooded. So let's take a look. This is the room where the water came in, so we're right outside the driveway. You can see it out here. So what happened in this room?
Okay, so when it started to rain, water came in. If you look at this baseboard that runs across this room, it was coming in the entire length of this baseboard. Not just in one spot, but the entire length of the baseboard had water coming in the room. It ruined all of these floors.
Yep. And that's never happened before.
It never happened before in the 5 years that I've lived here.
Yeah. Alright, well that's what we're here fixing.
And he's doing a great job.
We got all the concrete torn out, and now we are going to be cutting this grade way down to get our grade right so we can pour the concrete appropriately this time. So every bit of dirt that comes out of here at this point is dirt that needed to come out originally. So we're going to see how much dirt comes out of here. This was the solution that the original concrete contractor said would stop her flooding issues. So, yeah, we're here replacing this concrete. We got all the concrete torn out, and now we are going to be cutting this grade way down to get our grade right so we can pour the concrete appropriately this time. The customer already spent a bunch of money on this, so she doesn't want to put the concrete all the way back to where it was. So we're going to here, and so Harvey's just digging out some of this gravel and aggregate because she wants to do a flower garden across there. So we're getting the gravel out of there over to that pile and then onto my truck, and we're getting the dirt back in over there for her. It can be tricky to match up new concrete to old concrete, even though this new concrete here is only a couple weeks old. So what we're going to do, since she doesn't want to replace all of it, she only wants to go to where that stake is right there. So we ran a chalk line from the stake right there to the edge right here where the curve begins. And so we're just going to cut this line right here and straighten it out to make it look right. So Miguel's working on that. We are just about finished, or the concrete guys I should say, are just about finished forming this up. So you can see our chalk line right there. That's that purple line. That is the bottom of the slab over here. There it is again right there on the bottom of that slab. So that will be the top of the new concrete. And we are sloping down just a little, about 2 inches down to there, and then we're sloping down quite a few inches down to here. So everything's going to drain on that corner right there the way it used to drain. So we should be in pretty good shape. We left a bunch of dirt over here because we're going to have to do our finish grading over here. So we should be in good shape there as well. And it looks like we're getting some rain here. So it may be a couple days before we pour, so we'll check back then. We are back out here. It's the next day. The weather looks good. So Harvey said we could go ahead and pour. And what we got going on here is that concrete that the other concrete guy put in was about 2 weeks old or so. And so Harvey didn't want to back a concrete truck full of concrete onto that fairly new concrete. And so I had to bring out my concrete buggy here, and you can see it right there in the background. Gomi's on it. And so we used that, so it took a little bit longer to pour, having to buggy all that concrete back and forth, but that way we ensure we didn't break up that new concrete. the concrete guys are finished with the pour, and so we're just doing a little bit of floating on it, and Miguel's going around the house to go work on this back corner right here, so he's going to get that really nice with the hand trowel. Harvey's up there cleaning up the concrete buggy, and Gomez is over here running the float. So this is looking really good. Some rain out here, and so I wanted to come. I just talked to the homeowner. She said the concrete's looking really good. So take a look at this. This is exactly what I want to see, is this dry line right here. Hey, what do you think?
I think it's doing what it's supposed to finally.
Yeah. You see that nice dry line up against the house? I love it. Alright, I just talked to the homeowner, and the news guy did call the original concrete contractor and pressured him into giving her a pretty good chunk of money back. So she said that once we came out and started getting this concrete issue resolved, that she wasn't as worried about it anymore, and she kind of had the energy to pursue the guy a little bit more. So that is great news that she got some money back. And so what's happening now is the water's just running on down here the way it used to. So she's really, really excited, and again, you can see how dry it is right along here. And we kind of have a little bit of a swale right here where the water's just kind of running down through there, and that's what we were going for. She did all this finish grading here. Her son came over and helped her out with that, so she said that was god awful trying to get all that done. But she got it done, and I offered to bring my Harley rake over if she couldn't get it, but they took care of it. So that was great news. So this is a really, really good, exciting story that things turned out well for her. I wanted to talk for another minute about this concrete job, and the homeowner, you know, she pretty much thought, okay, it's just a driveway, so she wasn't really too worried about it. It never even crossed her mind that replacing a driveway could cause these kind of problems. And so now, of course, she knows, and she wants to spread the word that, okay, concrete can be a huge deal, because the first rain instantly flooded her whole front room there and ruined all the flooring. And there's no way to fix that. And so I see this quite often where customers call me and they have brand new concrete, and the concrete is sloping into the garage or into whatever, and now it's just completely flooding it. And they call me out there and they say, well, can you do a channel drain? Can you do this? Can you do that? And at the end of the day, the best thing to do is to get the concrete correct. Because if you try to put a channel drain in there, as more water flows into the channel drain, more water's got to get out of the channel drain to make room for it. And so it can quickly become overwhelmed. Whereas if the concrete is sloping correctly away, it's going to be falling away naturally, and the more rain, the harder it falls away. So it's just more sustainable to do that. So really, really check up on your concrete contractors and make sure that they're getting this concrete correct. Otherwise, you can have problems like this. And luckily, the homeowner was able to get a pretty good chunk of money back from the original concrete contractor. And that was all because of the news. So she called the news and said, this is what's going on. The news contacted him. I wrote an assessment. My assessment was very, very matter of fact. I didn't, say anything was done wrong. I just said, this is not quite correct, and this is what we need to do to fix it. So you never want to badmouth anyone else's work. You just want to try to move forward from it and say, okay, here's what we need to do to get it correct. And the news story should be coming out this summer sometime. So if I get a hold of the news story, I will put it in the description, but that may be a couple months from now.